Hey, peace. What's going on? What's happening? It's your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. Live in effect tonight. So I wanna make this video as short as I possibly can. I wanna say this for the record. As much as I love ancient Egypt, as much as I love hearing about the history of ancient Egypt, because ancient Egypt has a lot of great history when it comes to the artifacts, the civilization, etc. But it is not the only civilization of Africa. It is not the only civilization of Africa. Why do I say this? Because it's almost like people put Egypt as the foundation of Africa. Okay, I understand that Egypt has a wonderful history and the pyramids and whatnot, but that's not the only thing of Africa. Like, how come you, and this is what bothers me. As a matter of fact, I post up the question on Facebook, and I'm going to read the question that I put up here. All right, so the question I put up: so-called African-centered community. How dare you only speak on the ancient time period of Egypt, but not even touch on the ancient West Africa? Why do many people in the African-centered community, why don't many people in the African-centered community know about the Note culture, the Bora culture, and the Tichet culture? Please don't give me that crap about they didn't have civilizations and kingdoms, because they did. These are our descendants. We are talking about, for crying sake, when is the confirmation bias shit is going to end regard to our history? And that's what I've been seeing. I've been seeing a lot of confirmation bias regard to history. It's like people pick and choose what part of our history they want to just deal with, instead of dealing with the history as a whole. And then let's talk about the elders for a moment. Nothing against the elders, but why bring so many lies and say that we come directly from the Egyptian people, which we did not come directly from them? Okay, we did not come directly from those from Egypt. We came from descendant of those from Central West Africa. So it's just too many romanticism that's going on. And all this romanticism is not doing anything but bringing a setback to us as a people. Because it's like we live in this fantasy world, and we want some type of fantasy that we can feed off of. Then on top of that, the language. You got people who claim to be expert. What's up, brother? How you doing? Peace. You got people who claim to be expert on the language of Medu Neter. And I'm still not getting that. I'm still not getting it, because many people don't even know the structure of the language. They don't even know the grammar. They're not really sure about the grammar. The language been dead for a very long time, and the only thing that's left of Medu Neter is Coptic. If Coptic language was not around, then how in the world would you know Medu Neter? I'm gonna ask that again. If Coptic language was not around, then how would you know what Medu Neter is? That's all I want to know. But yes, I need to just I need to know, why is it that for some reason people shy away from learning about West Africa and Central Africa? Why and just Africa in general? Why is people shying away from that? Why people is shying away from dealing with West African history. And I could pull up some information, okay, about ancient West Africa. And I'm quite sure there are quite a few people that have touched on it. So for those YouTubers who have touched on the history about West Africa and the kingdoms and um, the early Stone Ages, the Iron Age, etc. Shout out to you guys, okay? Shout out to those of you that have touched on this. But for the rest of y'all, especially those who consider to be African centered, I think that it's time to really get on board with this, because we're in a time period that people really trying to connect dots back to their origins as far as the ancestor is concerned. And not saying that we don't have any descendants from Egypt, but our direct descent is those that came out of Central West Africa, and you would think that we should learn about those people first before we try to touch bases everywhere else, right? I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just asking. If that's too much to ask, maybe I'm wrong for asking these type of questions. But let me go ahead and post up some information. Let's post up some information about the archaeology of West Africa. All right. I'm getting ready to post it up right now. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I got some information right here. All right, African archaeology. So let's go where it let's go under the Neolithic. All right, so it says cultural developments during the early Neolithic led nomadic hunter-gatherers lifestyles to be slowly supplanted by pastoralism in northern Africa. Africa's earliest evidence for domesticated animals come from the Sahara circa 700 to 600 BCE. And it says, and evidence for new cattle herding lifestyles are preserved at both archaeological sites such as Gobero and in Saharan rock art. As the Sahara increased in size due to aridification, early pastoralists migrate south and eastward into the Niger and Nile valleys, bringing with them herding practices that would also spread throughout eastern and southern Africa. And it says the Savannah Pastoral Neolithic and the Elementary are found in East Africa. In the western Sahel, the rise of settled communities occur largely as a result of the domestication of millet and sorghum. Archaeology points to sizable urban population in West Africa later. Beginning by the second millennium BCE, symbiotic relation developed before the trans-Saharan trade. In response to the opportunity afforded by north-south diversity in ecosystems across desert, grassland, and forests, the agriculturalists received salt from the desert nomads, The desert nomads acquired meat and other foods from pastoralists and farmers of the grasslands and from fishermen in the Niger River. All right. It says the forest dwellers provided furs and meat. In West Africa, Dar, Tichik, and Ulata in present-day Mauritania figure prominently among the early urban centers dated to 2000 BCE. About 500 stone settlements littered the region in the former savanna of the Sahara. Its inhabitants fished and grew millet. The ancestors of the Soninke, of the Mende people, may have been responsible for constructing such settlement around 300 BCE. The region became more desiccated and the settlements began to decline, most likely relocating to Kumbi Salil. Architectural evidence and the comparison of pottery styles suggest that Dar Tichite was related to the subsequent Ghana Empire and Jine Jino cultures in present-day Mali. All right, so now just reading this, if this goes into the Neolithic time period, right? How come we never really heard about these things? How come we never heard about this? This is the archaeological research. Why is this overlooked at in the African Centers community? Why is this information being overlooked at? And I'm not saying that everybody's doing it, but there are those who are. That's overlooking information. And also, speaking of West Africa, let's talk about West Africa and the ghost gene population. Let's look up the early humans. All right, so this dealing with the early humans, the archaeology in West Africa. It says archaeology in West Africa could rewrite the textbook on human evolution, right? And this came out recently in April 11 of 2021. Our species Homo sapien rose in Africa some 300,000 years ago. The objects that early humans made and used, known as the Middle Stone Age material culture, are found throughout much of Africa and include a vast range of innovations. Among them are bow and arrow technology, specialized tool forms, the long-distance transport of objects such as marine shell and obsidian, personal ornamentation, the use of pigments, water storage, and art. Although it is possible that other ancestors of modern humans contribute to this material culture in Africa, some of the earliest Middle Stone Age stone tools have been found with the oldest Homo sapiens fossil found so far. All right, and then going down, it says new work in Senegal. Check this out. It says in 2014, our work in Senegal led to the discovery of a site in country's north that suggests the Middle Stone Age ended there far more recently than the textbook suggested. Several young dates in West Africa have been reported in the past, but the work was largely dismissed only to problematic dating conducting before the present day standards existed. Dates from Ndanye Pidano indicates that the site was around 12,000 years old. Yet the material culture was classically Middle Stone Age without any later Stone Age tools or production methods. In 2016 and 2018, we returned to the field to look for sites in different regions of Senegal and on different river systems on tributaries of the Senegal and the Gambia. This is because sources of fresh waters were critical to people in the past. just as they are to people today. River terraces also often offer excellent preservation condition and are therefore good places to search for archaeological sites. And it says the site of Lamania on the Gambia had never been dated. We conducted a detailed assessment of its rocks layer to obtain dating sample we could confidently link to the artifacts. The sample returned a date of 24,000 years ago for the site, which confirmed that a young Middle Stone Age was indeed present in the region. And then check this out. It says the site of Sasio Munayuna an even greater surprise as the classically Middle Stone Age artifacts such as retouched Lavalis points and scrapers from this site were found upon and within a young torrents of the Peleme River. It was obvious that the site was relatively young. However, the date of 11,000 years ago to the youngest Middle Stone Age into the Holocene epoch, the period after the last major ice age. Then so I'm just gonna stop right here. And this is under the conversation, by the way. So again, there was some form of civilization going on, right? But I know what it is. There's people who don't want to look into the scientific artifacts because they don't trust the information, because they have this preconceived notion that the Europeans are the ones that's writing this information down, and that just because they're Europeans, that it's a total lie. And not everything's 100% a lie. It's not 100% a lie. Everything's not 100% a lie. So that doesn't mean that you get to dismiss the science, because if you dismiss science, then that means that you're not open to learn any more information. You're not open to acquire the knowledge. So what I see is a lot of falsification and romanticism that's going on regarding to the history about Africa. And it's quite sad that you got to romanticize things in order just to make people feel comfortable. But that's just not all what it is. It was not just peaches and cream. Anything that you learn from the historical standpoint, it has its good, it's going to have its bad, it's going to have its ugly. Okay? So what I'm saying is we can't put total reliance on ancient Egypt as if ancient Egypt is going to give us the exact answer. Because it's not. And then I want to speak on ancient Egypt, right? I don't know if you guys even looked into this. Oh, Jesus. All right. So right here it says faces of 3 ancient Egyptian mummies recreated using DNA technology and thermal meshing. All right. So some of y'all might disagree and some of you may agree. It says a team of workers at Parabon Nanolabs has digitally recreated the faces of 3 mummies from ancient Egypt using DNA technology and thermal meshing. They have posted a release statement on the company's website describing their process and result. All right. And so they go into the process. And it says the 3 mummies were found at a site in Egypt called Absur el Malik, an ancient city located south of modern Cairo. Prior research has shown that they were buried sometime between 1380 BC and 425 AD. In 2017, researchers at the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History found tissue that had survived in good enough condition to allow for genetic sequencing of 3 bodies, all of whom were male. In this new effort, the workers have used data from that sequencing effort along with other tools to digitally recreate the faces of the 3 mummies. It then goes on to say the process began with a type of phenotyping called snapshot, which can be used to determine facial features, ancestry, and skin color. It shows that all 3 of the mummies had once been young men with skin the color of modern Mediterranean or Middle Eastern people with deep brown eyes. They were also able to determine hair color and texture, freckling, and facial shape. Next, the workers created 3D meshes using thermal scans of the mummy's head. The meshes were then used to form the basic facial characteristics of the 3 young men, all 3 of whom were believed to be approximately 25 years old at the time of their death, based on their bone structure. The team then compiled the data from their snapshot phenotyping with their mentions to create digital images of 3 men who lived thousands of years ago. It says the workers note that there was severe degradation of the DNA, but point out that they did not need the full set of single nucleotide polymorphism. All they needed were those that reveal information about certain traits that differ between individuals, such as eye and skin color. They know also that their technique have also already been used to help identify the remains of people living in modern times as part of forensic efforts involved in cold cases. All right, so as you can see, I'm gonna post up the picture. These are the picture of what, according to the DNA data and according to the digital according to the technology, this is how the ancient mummies would have looked like. The 3 ancient mummies they found. Okay, they would have looked like this. All right, so that seemed to be about right. Let me tell you why I say that seems to be right. Only because when we talk about ancient Egypt, right? Okay, what people in the African-centered community or the Afrocentrists, what they don't tell you is the admixtures. They don't tell you that these people was mixing in with those who came from the Levant area, which is over in the Middle East, and the Mediterranean area, etc. They don't tell you that. But one thing, Dr. Chancellor Williams even acknowledged that in his book, that there was not only dark-skinned ancient Egyptian people, right, but there were also those who were mixed as well. Okay, and then there were those who came into Egypt, those who invaded the area, and of course they and there was more and more came into those regions, and they started populating, etc. See, that's the part that the Afrocentrists or people that claim to be in the African-centered community, that they don't want to tell you that. So it's like you feed into the illusion thinking that, oh, they are absolutely dark-skinned. Right? So this kind of dispels this whole notion about Black Egypt. Because all of Egypt wasn't Black, or what we perceive today as being Black, meaning darker complexion. Everybody wasn't of dark complexion. So that was some form of admixtures. And not just in ancient Egypt, but also throughout Africa, there was some admixture. So really nobody is 100% anything. Nobody's 100% anything. Okay? You got some form of admixture in you because human has traveled to different places and they have populated. So with these images, I can see that to be factual. I can see that to be factual. I can see that to be absolute because, again, Egypt is considered as a transcontinental country. It sits on the borderline of the Middle East, and the rest of it is Africa. So there is a strong possibility of a highly mixture of individuals that look like they Mediterranean. And of course, there are those who are dark skinned, my complexion. But again, we try to create this illusion that, oh, it's black, black, black. And it's not. It's not. Everything is not black, black, black like we think it is. And that's all I'm getting at on that point. Like, we got to stop with this confirmation bias. We got to really just start looking at things for what they are. You know what I'm saying? Even when you see in West African culture, there is diversity. Okay? There's diversity, strong diversity. All right? So you got the light skin, you got the dark skin, you got the brown skin. You got all various shade of African descended people. So, to get to the point of this, if we're going to talk history about Africa, right, we can't just solely focus on ancient Egypt. Like, that's just not fair. That's not fair to just make Egypt as if it's the foundation of Africa. Like, as if Egypt is everything and everything else is nothing. What about Nubia? If you're going to talk about Egypt, what about Nubia? What about the early Sudan? What about Kenya? What about Ethiopia? I mean, but there's always room to grow and to acquire better knowledge and be able to thank you, Go Junkie. I don't think I don't think I'll make an excellent teacher though. You know, I'm not I'm not up there yet, but I'm a student right now, so I'm trying to learn just like everybody else. But the only thing I like to do is just present information. That's just my main thing. So um I wouldn't see myself as being an excellent teacher as of yet. It's a lot of work that I have to do, so but I appreciate the compliment. But anyways, it's a lot of growing that we gotta do as a people. It's a lot of things that we gotta learn. And again, if we're gonna deal with history, we cannot come from a state of being biased. We cannot come from a state of just using confirmation bias or whatever makes us comfortable. We can't do that. No, we don't have the answer to everything. But when we find out something that will challenge our consensus or challenge our thoughts, then we have to admit to ourselves that we don't really know. What we thought that we knew, we don't really know. And we got to be honest. We got to admit that we don't know everything. We don't have the answer to everything. And this is why it's very important that we go out and study. And some of us don't have time to always read materials like me. I don't have the time all the time to read materials. I have so many books, I have so many ebooks that I don't even have time to read them like I used to. So, but when I do, I take a glance at it and I say, I never knew anything about this. Oh, wait a minute, this is not, I'm not familiar with this. I never heard of this. So I have come to the point where I just humble myself and say, all right, well, I didn't know this and I was not aware of it. So um, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to find out more information. And then that will make you a genius. That will really make you smart because you're constantly seeking out for more and more information. You're constantly learning. You're not just stuck on that one level. You just constantly trying to gravitate to more info, trying to receive more knowledge. Your brain is hungry for it. Yep. Oh, before I go, I want you guys to check out this channel on YouTube. It's called From Nothing One. Let me see. I think that's the name of it. Yeah. The name of the channel is called From Nothing. So it's on YouTube, and the brother that does this channel, as a matter of fact, I can pull the channel up for you guys. Because I would suggest you guys to get into this channel. This channel goes into more about West African history. Let me show y'all. All right, so this is the name of the channel right here. Y'all can see that it's called From Nothing. And the brother on here, his name is Jabari. I believe that's his name, Jabari. Yep, that's the name. That's the channel right there. So I would suggest for you guys to subscribe to that channel and hit that notification bell. I would suggest y'all do that because this brother does a good job going into like West African history and all. And there's many other Brother Kofi got his own thing going on. Shout out to Brother Kofi and shout out to the Mozzie Warrior Clan. They doing what they do. Shout out to them. And also you guys check out Brother Geechee channel. All right, so Brother Geechee got a channel as well. I think he does an excellent job going into West African history. All right, so his channel right here. The channel is called The Book of Al Jahiz with Geechee Gullah Jack. Book of Al Jahiz with Geechee Gullah Jack. So he goes into details about West Africa, etc. He does a great job explaining things. But yeah, well, shout out to those brothers. But make sure you guys check those brothers out and many others that I named. Yeah. So and also hold on. I'm not finished yet. I'm not quite finished yet. All right. So this is Home Team History. Home Team History does a wonderful job, a magnificent job going into a lot into West Africa history, especially. So they do a great job at that. Shout out to Home Team History. They work in conjunction with um, from Nothing Channel. So the brother from Home Team History works with the brother from the Nothing YouTube channel, which is Brother Jabari. So they both work in cahoots with each other, but they do a very great job of going into history about West Africa. And again, Brother Geechee does that too. But yeah, I think that more and more people in the African centered community need to really step up and put a lot more focus into West and Central Africa because it's very important. I think that the primary focus need to be on those regions, especially by that being where our descendants coming from, because that will get people more interested. More people will be more involved and more active and want to be able to learn more. So, um, but other than that, that's all I wanted to say. I ain't got nothing else to really talk about, but I really appreciate you guys supporting my channel, checking out the contents, hitting the notification bell, sharing my videos, all that great stuff. Thank you guys so much. So again, let's go ahead and just keep that knowledge alive and keep our history alive before it goes down the drain. All right. So we got to keep this information alive. We got to keep things going because it's very important that we know where our people come from and who we are and how we got here. Yep. But other than that, y'all take it easy. Have a great night. And I will talk to y'all later. This your girl Tiffany, and I'm logging off. Peace and power elevation be to all of you. Until next time, deuces. All right. Thank you.